get comfortable.
Yeah, get yourself situated.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. It is Thursday, October 11th. Welcome to episode 16 of Bliss Point, a podcast and website serving up music discussion, news, show and album reviews, and more. My name is Jordan Kaufman, and I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts, Billy Gatewood.
Hello.
And Paul Kolb.
Good evening and or day.
How are you? How's everyone today?
I'm pretty good today.
Good?
Feeling
Feeling
good
good?
there.
Feeling alive? Yeah, feeling
We're getting
good?
there.
Okay.
A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, there is. We're going to jump right into it with what we've been listening to, and that encompasses the best, worst, good, noteworthy, mediocre, important, and inconsequential, sometimes album-related shows, singles, and new releases of the week. And first up, we have Mr. Billy. Went to go see a cat play on stage.
I did.
Keyboard cat.
And
some crushingly sad
yeah. Sad dudes. Yeah, so I went and saw The National with Cat Power and Phoebe Bridgers opening over at Merriweather.
I assume Phoebe was first.
Phoebe was first.
That's disappointing.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
It actually ended up being beautiful because there's this like beautiful sunset, and as her set progressed, it just got real dark.
Oh, fuck.
And it was actually
that sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was real nice.
Okay.
First time seeing Phoebe with the full band. We saw her open for Ryan Adams, but it was just acoustic.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So it was awesome to see her full band.
Sure.
Plus, I haven't seen her since the album came out.
Did it change?
It was, yeah. Well, I mean,
because I liked her solo, but I feel like I would like her more with a full band.
I liked it much better.
Okay.
I mean, I loved her solo. I would love to see her solo in the right setting.
Sure.
But as far as like an amphitheater setting goes, full band, perfect.
Cool.
They crushed it.
Awesome.
They played their new her new Boy Genius song, I guess.
Hell yeah. Okay.
So that was solid. Cat Power followed up. Also played an opening length set. I was afraid she was going to play for too long.
Okay.
But it was like a perfect amount. Not that I have anything against Cat Power. I mean, she put on a good show. It was a good length.
Yeah.
You don't want to soothe the beast inside of you.
Right.
Do you want to go to sleep entirely before you see The National?
I mean, she was holding an incense in her hand the entire time.
Because The National would finish the job, am I right?
Wow.
What flavor was it?
Oh, I couldn't smell it. You just see
Why
it
didn't you buy
smoke.
closer tickets? Jesus.
Wow. I'm not rich, Jordan.
But it makes her hands smell terrible.
Probably.
Interesting fact about her performance live, she doesn't have a bassist, which I don't know if typically on her albums she doesn't have a bass or what.
Interesting.
But it's drums, one guitar, and a dude that switches between piano and also rhythm guitar.
I've never
Interesting.
noticed that.
But
although I think the piano often handles the lower...
Exactly.
Sure.
I think that was the purpose, but it definitely seemed to be lacking that. It was something that I noticed throughout.
Okay. Interesting.
And then The National came on, played a very similar set to what we saw in DC at the Anthem.
Okay.
But he was not hammered this time.
That's good.
So
because you forgot
was
the lyrics like
fantastic.
5 times.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh my gosh. It was really, really good. The new stuff, which I know you're not a huge fan of, and I'm not the biggest fan on it either, but it was really good live. It was much better this time around.
Okay.
He had a ton of energy, went into the crowd like 3 or 4 different times.
Nice. And that's one thing that I must say is, like, I know Paul shits on them for being boring. They do have a good live presence.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like even though I didn't really like the show that we went to, they always bring a fun show.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear that they weren't more slow and boring.
No, they had a ton of energy that night, and they just seemed more together and more into it.
Okay,
and
cool.
They actually played Mr. November, which
nice.
is one of the main
Of
reasons
course.
I want to see them live.
Absolutely.
And it was awesome.
That's good.
So yeah, it was a great show.
Nice. That's a wonderful fall show. It's perfect. Let's jump into singles. First track, we have The Alchemist. Song is 94 Ghost Shit, featuring Conway and Westside Gunn. And this is just some classy Alchemist. I'm into it.
I love it. I
It's-
can't wait to see what else comes of it.
Yeah, I think one of you mentioned you hope to hear more from him in Action.
Yeah,
And I
now
did
that
too.
Action's free, because I think he had, however many albums under that label.
Yeah.
I think he can do his own thing, and the stuff he did with The Alchemist
Yeah,
it was always
it's-
the best.
It's perfect. So I hope
If you haven't
that-
heard, what is it, Rare Chandeliers?
Yeah, that shit's
So
great.
good.
Yeah, that shit's great. I'm hoping that we see more of that collab from them on his Action's new album. Alchemist is dropping like an EP with this song and another song on it, but great song, really good production, and just typical Alchemist. This next track, Alt J, Deadcrush, featuring Danny Brown, and this is the Alchemist / Trooko remix of the song Deadcrush, which is off of Alt J's last album, Relaxer, which blows. But this song is great, and it kind of makes me want to hear the rest of the remix album.
Yeah, this song's real solid. It definitely is much different than the original.
Yeah, I
takes
think
its own
they
little
stay
vibe.
true kind of the vibe, but they mix it up enough.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Danny
And
Brown's verse, obviously.
Great.
I've never met a Danny Brown
voice.
track I didn't like.
I know.
And you're right, Jordan, that band is just ripe for remixing for some reason.
Yeah, it's weird. I still love their first album a lot, but everything since then totally feels like if they just released the stems and like vibes for free, I feel like people would make more interesting music from their stuff than they do of their own. So anyway, Lil Wayne, maybe familiar with him. Wheezy F. The F is silent, or L is silent. Sorry. G is silent. Shit. I kept fucking that up. Anyway, Lil Wayne released the Carter 5 last week ago. And it's got a track on it called Monalisa, featuring Kendrick Lamar. It is an old track. It definitely seems that way based on Kendrick's verse and his timbre and his flow just feel very To Pimp a Butterfly. But I like the track a lot. I don't know what you guys thought. It's a little long, but yeah, thoughts?
I mean, you listen to it for Kendrick's verse. I mean, Lil Wayne does what Lil Wayne does.
Yeah.
It's a little bit less mumbly than maybe some of his past stuff.
Sure.
He seems like he made a conscious effort to try and
He's got really good presence. On
yeah,
this
yeah.
track,
No,
for sure.
really, I feel like he tried to kind of
absolutely.
yeah.
He realized the whole mumble genre came about, and he wasn't going to get grouped
exactly.
in there.
But you can't beat Kendrick's verse on it.
Yeah, it's insane. And did you guys like the weird, half crying, sobbing verse that he does at the end?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. He does this funny little voice affectation, but he doesn't stop his flow even for a second.
He does not. And I don't know how I feel. I love the verse, and I don't mind the voice affectation, but it's a little weird going on for as long as it does.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Carter 5, check it out. Definitely worth listening to. It's a little long, but definitely check it out. Phoebe Bridgers, it's next track. Lovely Phoebe. She does a cover of Tom Petty's All I Want to Do Is Have Fun. It'll all work out. Yeah, that's it. Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Tom Petty's #1 single. But yeah, I had not heard the original before this. Billy, I know you're a big Tom Petty fan.
I hadn't heard the original either.
It's not one of their more known.
No, it doesn't. And I'm happy that she didn't go for it. I feel like she could kill some fucking Free Fallin'.
Oh, yeah.
She would murder Free Fallin'.
That's what I want. I think we need more Free Fallin' covers.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was
John
nice
Mayer
that
not
she
doing
went.
enough for you.
Yeah, not enough in the world.
Nice that she went with a song that's less recognized, and she
it's-
kills it
yes,
anyway.
She makes it her own. Incredibly talented, and just a good cover all around. This next track, All Get Out, Self Repair. Big fans of these guys. Very excited for their new album to come out. I think it comes out next month. Billy, you're a fan?
Oh,
Yes?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Do you like the song?
I really like the song. It's very true to what they've always done.
Yeah. In some ways, it feels more upbeat than their last album. Mm-hmm. And so I'm kind of looking forward to their kind of take on a poppier direction. So we'll see.
Yeah.
It's definitely got their kind of messy production and good guitars and great vocals.
Vocals are always so good.
So the thing that have always sold it for me for them is the vocal harmonies.
Yep.
And they seem to have a good amount of them. So I'm hoping they stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
So we will see. Anderson Paak, the god himself, coming out with a new album, Oxnard, coming out next month. He released his highly anticipated track featuring Kendrick Lamar. It's called Tints. And how'd you guys feel?
Oh, it's so strong.
It's real good.
It's very good. It feels like we were talking about what was the song of the summer, and it's probably speaks to the pop landscape that I don't remember what the hell it was. But this song totally belongs in the summer.
You were correct, though. It's always like it's Polynesian Prince, because it usually is.
Yes, it is. It is Bruno Mars dominating the airwaves for years to come. So,
and this is one that may be blasphemy, but Kendrick's verse isn't necessarily what stands out on this track for me.
Absolutely.
Like, the production on this track is so good.
Yeah, this kind of feels like a throwaway verse from Kendrick. It's nothing incredible. He does what he does, right? But
that's how I felt too. But to me, it's like it's solid. It's just he's not really flexing his muscles or anything.
No, he's definitely not in dropping an album mode. I think he's just kind of along for the ride. And I hope this is Anderson .Paak's, like, I mean, I guess his last album was his breakout, but I hope this kind of gets him even more features and everything, just because he's so talented. And next track, DJ Muggs and Rock Marciano are releasing a collaborative album in the next couple months. They released a teaser track, well, not a teaser track, full-on track, called Shit I'm On. It's very kind of boom bap soul influenced hip-hop. What do you guys think?
I like it. There needs to be more jazz rap. And it makes me want to go and check out kind of their back catalog, because I'm not too familiar.
Yeah, neither am I. I know Rock's been featured on a lot of action tracks before, and it seems like this is his thing. Like, he doesn't really do anything else but kind of 90s influenced soul rap. So we'll see. I like this track quite a bit. I'm looking forward to the album, so we will see. And this last one kind of threw me for a loop. I had never heard of this band before, but I was blown away with the weird chorus. Kind of reminds me of Gorilla Toss a little bit, but band's called Mr. Twin Sister. Track is Tops and Bottoms. Billy, you into it?
I loved it.
Loved it? Yeah.
It's really sick. It starts off kind of like 90s R&B-ish, but then like breaks into like a little bit of a disco
vibe. It's like funky.
It's the 90s with lasers.
It is.
It's like literal ray gun sounds.
Yeah, it's definitely weird instrumentation choices, but super catchy track and very interesting, too. And that's it for singles. Before we jump into new releases, I wanted to make a quick shout-out. So TTNG, formerly known as This Town Needs Guns, re-released, or not re-released, they remade their seminal album Animals in acoustic format. So all of the instrumentation is organic, chimes, bells, acoustic guitars, stuff like that, and redid it with their old vocalist. And it's incredible. I didn't want to... It's the same songs, especially if you're familiar with them. It's nothing new, but it's just so well done, and the amount of effort they put into the string arrangements and just the different instrumentation is super, super cool. So definitely check it out, even if you're not like a big math rock fan, because it's kind of got emo vibes. The vocalist just kills it on this album.
I was shocked how good it was. Usually you hear acoustic album and you don't really know what to expect.
Exactly.
It's usually pretty like low-key, lo-fi, like not a lot of work
Absolutely.
put into it, but they put in so much work.
They did. I was really surprised at like when I hear acoustic math rock, I'm worried about noodly and like it sounding like shit. It sounds so good.
It's so good.
They really do a good job.
We should really go see them next week.
We will. We will see them next week. That show's sold out, by the way.
Yeah, it is. I bought all the tickets.
They're gonna pack that. I think they're playing DC9.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I am stoked.
That'd be
cannot
sweet.
wait for that show.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyway, jumping into new releases as we leave Billy behind.
Bye!
Billy, you're up first.
Oh, hey, I'm back.
Hey, how's it going?
So, this album, wasn't sure what I was going to go with for a while. I didn't want to be stereotypical Billy, but this week I'm stereotypical Billy.
Well, your new release is not.
No?
I mean, to be fair, they haven't released an album in a while.
Okay.
I know I've never pegged you as like a gigantic Coheed fan. I think you've seen them more than I have. But we've never talked about Coheed in like, holy shit, they're amazing.
Okay.
Like, Good Apollo, Burning Star 4, I think we could agree is incredible.
So good.
And we had a blast at that show. But we haven't, I've never heard you come out and say, I love Coheed.
Really?
Cambria.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, fun fact, I love Coheed.
Okay. Good to know.
So my new release is Coheed and Cambria, Unheavenly Creatures.
What's the full title?
Vaxis will
Act 1.
Act 1.
Bunch of sci-fi bullshit.
I think that's it. It's like Vaxis Act 1, Unheavenly Creatures or some shit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So it's the first part of a 3-part
fucking course,
story because Claudio's insane.
Well, I will go on record. I think everyone will go on record and say this. They write better music when it's conceptual. So
they absolutely do.
I'm looking forward to it.
Are they still doing comics?
Yes. I think this new batch of songs will also feature comics.
Somebody out there's so mad. It's graphic novels.
Well, yeah, whatever it is. Fuck them.
So, I mean, it's a very standard early Coheed, in my opinion. I feel like Coheed, when they, like you said, when they were doing the conceptual stuff, it was working really, really well. They stopped doing that and went on these, little one-off albums, and they just kind of lost it. They didn't do it for me. So this is a nice throwback, kind of getting back to what they are really good at, which is that conceptual stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, lyrically, vocally, it's so good. Yeah. Claudio, obviously amazing. A couple gripes with the album. It's got a few filler songs. It's 15 tracks.
A little for you?
It doesn't need to be 15 tracks.
No, it does not.
It could be an outstanding album if they cut 5 of those songs and kept their 10 best in there.
I'll leverage with you.
Okay.
I'll either take they can cut 5 songs, or not every song needs to be more than 5 minutes long. Because I can't recall, and I'd have to look at the track list.
They're average like 5 to 6 minutes.
It's just some songs.
You write a space opera and try to keep the time down on it.
The only song that is less tthan 5 minutes, 4.5 minutes, is the intro, which is kind of insane. I just think they put too much, which is weird for them. I mean, I guess it's not that weird.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, if you're going to write a 5 to 6 minute song, and I think we're both on the same page with this, you better have some sweet guitar solos in there.
Absolutely.
Which this album lacks incredibly.
There's no lead guitar. So what's up?
Well, let me ask you this. Their 2 most beloved songs, how long do those clock in? Is Welcome Home and 10 Speed, all that?
So those, I think, like Welcome Home is starts off with this banger riff, goes into a killer chorus with awesome riffs as well, and then transitions into chorus, verse, chorus, and then has probably one of the coolest guitar solos of the last decade, in my opinion. Yeah. No, I don't think there's maybe 1 or 2 guitar solos on this album. Maybe. Yeah. There probably is more than that, but that kind of speaks to how not memorable a lot of this album was for me. Yeah. Just because there's no... I don't recall any catchy hooks, at least guitar-wise.
Guitar-wise, no, yeah, exactly. They rely on all the vocal stuff, and I think, like, the singles that came out, I think it started with, like, Dark Sentencer, and, like, that got me super hyped, because it was very, like, the lead guitar was present, the vocals were present. It's like a 7-minute song, but it has enough to it to where, for me, it was exciting all the way through. Yeah. So I was like, there's going to be a lot more of that. The singles they release, and all of them are really good. So the album starts out with, 3 of the singles that are already released, and then it drops into a couple songs that I didn't know, and those drop-offs are real intense. Like, the songs are not nearly as good.
I'm do you like Toys?
No,
okay, I can't stand
that
Toys.
song.
So I get first 3 tracks are good, and then Toys through True Ugly are meh. I love Love Protocol.
Okay.
Do you like Love?
Yes. If we get into
Love Protocol.
Yes.
What are your favorite tracks? I was going to say,
if we get into my favorite tracks, Love Protocol is probably my favorite track, because that's quintessential, like, poppy
Absolutely.
Coheed.
Yes.
And it's short. It's 4.5 minutes. It's not short, but for Coheed, it's short. It's a great song. I didn't mind Queen of the Dark.
It's okay.
As far as, like, non-single tracks on the album, Queen of the Dark was pretty good. And then, you can't beat Dark Sentencer.
Dark Sentencer is real good.
It's real good.
And one more thing, you may correct me on this. I don't recall hearing any bass. Hardly ever.
I couldn't even tell you. Yeah,
super disappointing,
especially for Coheed, because their bassist is insane.
Yes, and the new guy is super talented.
Yeah,
like they're just kind of wasting him on this album.
Yeah.
So
no, that's a good point.
I
I,
don't know.
didn't think about that, but it's not present for sure.
It's obviously with them. It's not a case of like bad production.
No,
because
right.
the production's great. It's just he's so low in the mix that you can never hear him.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
So yeah, I mean, as far as Coheed goes, it's a solid album. It's just not perfect.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
yeah, related artists, I would say Deer Hunter, Mars Volta, Circus Survive, Taking Back Sunday, that whole emo crowd.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's
sweet
Coheed.
high vocals.
Yeah.
Anything with
them
exactly
them high vocals. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, that's Coheed and Cambria, Unheavenly Creatures.
I'm into it. Mr. Paul, do you want to tell us about the club you're joining?
Yeah, I've decided to join the Tokyo Police Club.
Okay.
Just in time for them to release TPC.
Nice.
Although I have no idea what the abbreviation's for, but really solid
The
album.
Power Couple.
That's probably what it is.
That's probably what it is.
But
I'm gonna say that's what it
this is my first time really paying any attention to this
Me
group.
too. Me too.
4-piece kind of indie rock outfit out of Canada, and I really like it. You know, it's got kind of a strange level of polish for that kind of music for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, enjoyed all of it. There are a few acoustic tracks that are kind of not my thing.
Yeah, I didn't get into the end of the album. As I kind of was tapering off to listen to something else, it started to kind of slow down a bit for me, and I think you said the same thing.
I feel like they could cut the last 4 tracks.
Yeah.
Yep.
But there's a lot of good stuff on there. Obviously, heavily guitar-driven. Decent vocals for my taste.
Hercules is rad, by the way.
It's
Excellent
so
pick.
good.
Hercules
Yes.
is so good.
So good.
Yeah, to get into it, Hercules is solid. DLTFWYH is also good.
What does that stand for?
Don't let them fuck with your heart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
And
oh,
then
wow.
Can't Stay Here is another one I would recommend highly.
It's great. It's solid. It's not bad.
It released territory.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah.
I was gonna say if you're into Born Ruffians or Foxtrot, or I guess it's a stretch, but local natives,
I
you
can
probably
see it.
dig this.
Yeah, some of the like poppier side, I could totally see.
So yeah, check out TPC by Tokyo Police Club.
All right. Been waiting for this moment for a long time. So new album by Pine Grove, Skylight.
Kind of dropped out of nowhere.
Dropped out of nowhere, complete with I don't want to say scandalous, but like kind of tell-all expose. Not expose makes it sound worse than it was. I mean, it's still bad, but you know what I'm saying. Is Pitchfork released a huge article about this album and kind of what happened with the band. And if you weren't aware, Pine Grove was kind of embroiled in this sexual scandal thing that I'm still not sure I understand completely. You should just go read the Pitchfork article. It's I think it's very good, and it's important to note because the reason why this album's coming out is because the band, the lead singer, was the one that was kind of caught in the scandal. He, as part of their conditions for releasing the album, the person that he hurt or took advantage of, however you want to phrase it, was made him go to therapy, which he did. And I forget what else. There was a couple other things that she wanted him to do before they could release the album. And they wanted to get her okay to release the album. Because this album is always going to be tied to that moment in the band's history. And is kind of a big moment for indie music in general, I think. Especially with a band as so popular as they were, before they kind of got caught. And it's always going to be hard to divorce this album from the context of that situation. A lot of the lyrics feel like they were written about her or about a relationship the singer was having at the time. And I just kind of wanted to say that just so you know where the band is at. And it's important not to forget that stuff. Even though it is, quote unquote resolved by everyone involved, it's always important to stay aware of that stuff. But in any case, the album is good. I liked it quite a bit. It is way too short. And in the year of albums that go on for way too long, this is the complete opposite. So it holds true that just because it's a short album, it doesn't necessarily make it good. I just feel like they kind of squandered their opportunity to develop some of these tracks on here, because they have a lot of good ideas. Like the song Patterson and Leo is this beautiful, soft track, and it just kind of fades into nothing. It's like 2 minutes long. Most of the songs on here, about half of them are less than 2 minutes. So it is a short listen, which is kind of nice. I've listened to it probably 10 times just because it's 30 minutes long. So it's just easy to throw on. It's a Pine Grove album, so the lyrics are on point. The vocal harmonies and songwriting are great. They've added a little more instrumentation, kind of kept true to their style, but added a lap steel and a couple other instruments that kind of make them a little more, little less indie and kind of a little, have more money. But their production style keeps them in that indie range. And I love their production style so much. Mm-hmm. Just I watched how they recorded it, and they literally recorded the drums in a big room, and they all recorded together. So it feels like you're in the room next to them without it feeling super amateurish. So I thought it's an interesting choice, and definitely is going to be in my rotation for a long time. I think I look forward to seeing what they do next, if there is a next, whatever they want to do. But favorite tracks are Intrepid, Rings, and Skylight. Related artists, Modern Baseball, Oso, and a little bit of Foxing, particularly like newer stuff. Or older stuff, rather. And that album was Skylight by Pine Grove. And now, jump into our favorite bit of the week. Album of the week. Mr. Billy, no surprise at all.
Not one
with
bit.
your pick.
I really tried to branch out this week.
I'm very curious, as always, to hear what you thought about it. And what'd you pick?
So, my album of the week is a band we've talked about in the past.
Exhaustively. Actually, not exhaustively.
Yeah.
That video we watched was real cool,
video,
though.
Okay.
I'll always remember that.
So, it's Gunship, album Dark All Day.
Mm-hmm.
And so... I don't want to call it 80s electronica.
You don't?
I don't. So I'm going to say...
Is this why you're branching out? Because you're deciding that it's a different genre than it actually is?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So it's late 80s, early 90s electronica. Maybe a little bit
I'll fucking give it to you, but fucking shut up. Just get on with your description. It was actually 1990s.
It's like May of 91.
Like 89.
It was all a post-70s robot vibe.
Like December 89, like January 90 synthwave.
It's much more industrial and cyberpunk than it is like your typical 80s
I will
synth
give you
pop.
that. It is not. It is nowhere close to what the Midnight is.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I don't want to like pin it like, oh, it's just going to sound just like that, because it's a completely different band. Sounds more modern than it does some of those other, synthwave, synth pop type bands.
I will give you that.
I'm really, really surprised with this album. The singles were great, but it was one of those things where I was like, these are probably the two best songs, and everything else is going to be garbage.
Sure.
I was shocked with how good the production was, shocked with how good the songs were. It's like a 13-song album. I looked at that, I was like, it's going to be way too long. Half of it's going to be instrumental.
Yeah.
There's vocals on every track. His vocals are super good. I was shocked.
If the guy singer is the normal one? Okay.
So it's kind of like he's got this raw, almost like emo sound to it. It kind of reminds me of like a Sorority Noise, brand new, like Pine Grove type rawness to his voice. And his melodies are always on point. And I was shocked with as it went. I was really blown away with how good his hooks were. Yeah,
I think it sets them apart, definitely, at least from the things that I've heard. Mm-hmm. And I'm very much looking forward to diving deeper into this album. Unfortunately, I only got a chance to listen to it all the way through once.
Okay.
Sarah actually likes it quite a bit.
Really?
Surprisingly.
That is shocking. Sorry, Sarah.
The one single I forget, I still fucking love, with the saxophone.
Oh, that's Dark All Day.
Dark All Day. Yeah, Dark All Day is fucking great. I'm glad that you said industrial, because I've been looking for the term to describe that. Yeah. And I love that industrial vibe that they bring. The song name's fucking stupid, but the Drone Racing League, that track is also
it's pretty good, right?
Very industrial. I like that track a lot. They have they need help with their track names because they have a track referencing what's that movie that took the world by storm?
The Artemis and
Artemis and Parzival. I forget what.
Ready Player One.
Yeah, Ready Player One.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if that was. It could have been a movie tie-in. To be fair, I don't know. It feels like the type of band that would tie into that movie. But the track's good too. Yeah, it's I don't hate it. So
Everything Billy likes feels like it would tie into that movie.
probably true.
I'm kidding.
Probably true.
So there's two things I could have done without on this album.
Mm-hmm.
They did not need to cover Time After Time.
Very true. That
did
was
not need to happen.
That's well tread.
Did not
We
need
don't
to happen.
that.
That was a dud.
And
you,
they
Cindy.
did not need to feature Kat Von D
Yeah, that was
on
also a good
a
choice.
Sing?
not great song.
So-
She does sing, which I didn't know.
Kat Von D is the tattoo artist.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Sure.
She sings on a song called Black Blood, Red Kiss. And it's not a great song.
They really need to work on their like edgy titles. Like
Fair.
Like that's
You probably let her name it.
yeah, probably. It's a good album though.
It is. Do you like it?
I do.
Okay.
I really do. I listened to it all the way through, and I was like, "Holy shit! I don't hate this." Like,
Perfect.
I liked most of it all the way through.
I was
so.
shocked too that I like got through the whole thing, and I was like, man, track after track, I was like pretty into it.
I have good taste. This is
look
weird.
at this. I like music that I like. So my favorite songs on the album, obviously "Dark All Day." I don't know if you can beat that song. That song is so good. "Rise the Midnight Girl" is like a slower track, and it was, I don't know, that might be my favorite song on the album because it was just different, but it's I don't know, got me in all the feels.
Got your hooks.
And then probably Honor Among Thieves. It starts out super like cool with this like weird industrial bass line that I really am into, and it makes you forget about Time After Time. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So related artists are all the other 80s electronica that I've talked about extensively on this podcast, and I promise that I won't talk about it anymore for at least
Don't make a promise like that.
I know that's a promise I can't keep.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Oh, I'm seeing the Midnight tomorrow night. Balls.
Oh, you fucking win. Yep.
So we can talk about it
I was
more
going to
next
say, is the
time.
midnight coming out?
You're gonna wear your bandana
next week? or
Yeah,
something?
of course I'm going to wear my bandana because I want him to recognize
wanna
me.
Be like, bandana guy's here too.
Exactly.
I want to hear about bandana.
So
Saga.
I will tell you all about
Yeah.
my bandana guy
wait to
experience
hear about
next time we
Bandana
record.
Saga.
But yeah, so that's Gunship Dark All Day.
All right. My album of the week. The big surprise for me because about, 12 hours ago, I was like, Pinegrove's going to be my album of the week. Like, no big deal. But I really got into this album. I'm going to butcher this title. Kikagaku Moyo. The band. That's the band name. The album title is Masana Temples. And I follow a local record shop on social media, and they posted a picture. They do New Release Friday, so they get all the new vinyl in on Friday. Not all of it, but some of it. And they posted a picture of this, and I was like, oh, I should check that out. They have good taste, and I loved it. It is, Paul, I don't know if you listened to it. If you did not, let me paint a picture for you. It is like if King Gizzard and Toe had a child.
Because they're
Accurate.
Japanese.
No, because it's got partially, but it has some cool, chill post-rock vibes to it as well. That kind of remind me of Toe.
Then I'll definitely check out Kikagaku Moyo.
There you go. That sounds much better than the way I said it.
Well done, Paul.
Its album's really, really good. I have taken a huge liking to it. It's a very good album to kind of vibe out to. It's very chill. It's like
Very
a less
raw.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the production is interesting because it doesn't sound. I hate to say amateurish again, but it doesn't sound that way. But it does sound like they just kind of popped in a room and just recorded it real quick, especially like the acoustics.
Yep.
It sounds like a less unhinged King Gizzard. It's really good songwriting and guitar performances. Have a lot of cool jam sections where they just kind of like groove and kind of drone a little bit. And really good mixing. Like the bass is always super present, and the vocalist is probably the quietest vocals I've ever heard
I
on a
was going to say, you said
psychedelic
super
rock
good mixing.
album.
I was like, I couldn't hear the vocals
Really?
at all.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's the vocals are so low in
yes,
the mix.
yes,
and at first I
absolutely.
thought it was an instrumental album. Then I couldn't tell that it was in a different language because it was so quiet.
Yep. Yes. So maybe that was my personal feelings, but it's a super neat album. It is wildly different than anything I've heard in a while, and they just have a lot of good transitions, like the opening track, I guess besides the intro, called Dripping Sun, has this like cool cheesy 70s wah guitar intro, and then it transitions into this like super like groovy chill part where the vocals cut in, and if it wasn't clear before, all of the vocals are in Japanese, and I usually have a hard time getting into albums that are in a different language. Not because they're in a different language, but I have a hard time connecting to the music when I can't understand what they're saying. And this just, the vocal harmonies are so on point that it totally didn't bother me at all. And it's just a cool album. I really think you should check it out. Just try something different. Favorite tracks, Dripping Sun, Gathering is fucking rips. It's so good. And Nana. And related artists, King Gizzard, as I said before, and a band called Temples. And next up, Mr. Paul. I should say that again. The album is Masana Temples by. Can you say that artist again?
I scrolled down already.
Oh, sorry.
Give me 1 second, kids.
Okay.
Let me
get this right. I want to get this
Kigaku
right.
Moyo.
Perfect. Love it. Yeah.
Sometimes the language barrier thing does help, though. I enjoy a lot of pop that I can't understand lyrics to, and
Sure.
I'd probably hate it if I did.
That's fair. That is a good
Speaking of which,
point.
though, it's been 30 minutes. When's the next King Giz album?
Right? Yeah, I think they're taking a break after they recorded like 6 albums last year.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck it is.
So, I always knew at some point I would have a Cat Power album as one of my picks, and I think it's finally time. So, she came out with Wanderer recently. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but if you like really slow, kind of moody songwriter stuff, it's not for everybody, but she does a great job with it. Sometimes her voice kind of has a 60s vibe to it, which is rare. Most of the sensibilities melodically seem kind of more modern.
Sure.
I feel like there's a good mix of instrumentation in it. And she had a cool feature on this album. She did a track with Lana Del Rey. And normally when there's a feature on a track, I feel like they're there to interject their flavor.
Yes.
But in this case, it was more like Cat Power kind of rubbed off on Lana. It was
weird.
where she adapted to that vibe really easily.
I didn't even, it took me a while to realize that Lana was even singing on the track. Like, they do a good job of singing together and kind of melding, like you said.
Yeah, it was funny that Billy saw her recently.
Yeah, and they actually she played that song, Woman,
Was
live.
Lana there?
If I knew that Lana was a feature, I would have been expecting it, but no, Lana was not there.
Damn,
Good, they didn't set you up for disappointment.
Yeah,
one
exactly. But I also didn't realize it was a new song because I don't know Cat Power all that well. But I remember that being probably one of my favorite songs of the night, and then listening to this album, I was like, oh, that's probably my favorite song on the album too.
It's a good album.
We're going to have to go listen to it again, because until you said the no bass thing, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, so when I was listening to the album, I was trying to listen for that to see if there was bass on it, and I didn't hear any.
I mean, it's super stripped back. You would think that you'd hear it if it was there, but I could be wrong.
And that's actually something I really like about her music in general, is it is very stripped down. There's not a whole lot going on the instrumental side. It's enough to really fill the space nicely, but
Absolutely.
It's nothing unnecessary.
It's a nice change of pace from, like, everything on the radio and anything that I really listen to that's just kind of got instrumentation creep, just like more and more and more and more and more. It's kind of nice to just hear like a vocalist and 2 instruments, you know?
Yeah, but I definitely recommend checking out Woman. That's the track with Lana. Stay and You Get are also pretty strong to me.
See, another thing I could do without. She didn't. Why'd she have to cover Stay?
I was gonna say I really like it.
I like the cover. You're not a fan?
I'm usually cool with covers, but
Do you like the original?
No.
I love the original.
Okay.
I was okay with the original.
Probably the only Rihanna
Mickey-
song that I like.
Mickey Echo.
Rihanna.
Yeah, it's Rihanna with I like the Mickey Echo part of it.
I didn't know. I didn't realize there
think-
was someone
I think-
featuring on that.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. And I usually like covers.
Fuck out of here.
Maybe just Phoebe should do the.
That's a weird.
Yeah, there you go.
Usually like covers. There's a lot of styles of cover out there.
I mean, I don't
you
like
like
it on
covers
albums.
of things
Maybe
that you
I don't
like.
like it on albums. Is probably what it is.
Okay, that's
like
fair.
a bonus.
Sure.
And I was telling Jordan, I always have a strange
Yeah.
kind of. I feel like a cover of a song that's recently released, as in the last 3-4 years, is always a little weird for me.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I thought this one was strong.
Yeah, that's good.
So, recommend checking out those tracks. If you like Feist or Nico Case, you guys think of anyone else that might fit that vibe?
I don't know. Feist is like the first thing that I thought of, for sure. I think that's...
She does have a
hits the nail
very,
on the
like you
head.
said, a very 60s classic
Yeah.
rock.
Which I've noticed is a thing that I seem
More recent Lana.
seek out in like female vocalists.
Yeah.
More recent Lana you could probably throw in there.
I'll have to check that out. But yeah, definitely check out Wanderer by Cat Power.
And if you're curious about the singles and albums we talked about today, there will be a playlist up on the site containing all the singles and the best tracks from this week's albums. Check us out on Spotify, iTunes, all of the places. Like, subscribe, leave good reviews, etc., etc. Visit bliss.house, that's bliss.haus, for all of our content. Thanks for showing up, guys.
Guys, we did it. Type 40.
I appreciate it.
Can't wait to talk about the Midnight next week.